Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. I gotta sit there and say, I actually really enjoyed this episode. Um, you know what? Let's start off with Deacon for a minute. First of all, he's getting harassed by Sheila, who keeps digging and probing and asking, so did y'all just drink? Did y'all do anything else? I mean, did you do something? And of course, Deacon's not gonna say anything. So he just practically tells her to leave the whole time. You're bothering me. She was like, "Oh, I'm your only friend." I'm like, "Well, if that's the case, then you really don't actually have any friends." But that is beside the point. So after she's probing and nagging and getting nowhere, they both see Deacon. Well, Deacon sees Ridge, and he's like, "Yo, listen, you got to get out of here. You got to go." So after a while, she leaves, and Ridge comes in there and acts like the jealous, insecure little man that he is. Listen, I don't know that much about Riz because I haven't been watching the show, but him walking in there saying the same old tired ass lines of, you need to sit there and stay away from my wife. You need to sit there and stay away from my house. You need to sit there and stay away from Hope. You need to sit there and get out of LA. I mean, first of all, he walks in there, he was like, oh, you're at the place that you always are at. I was like, bro, he works there, right? I get it. I don't know Deacon and his history. From what I understand, he wasn't exactly a good person, always drinking, always doing cons and schemes and stuff like that. But I'm like, bro, the fact that you walked up in there and was like, I'm going to sit there and just start judging on your past mistakes. I was like, Rich, how many mistakes have you made? Wouldn't it be really fun to have somebody just walk into your office every day, constantly sitting there pointing out every little mistake that you made? So of course he does that. The usual stay away from my wife and my kids and this, that, and the third and my family. And Deacon's like, yeah, I can't do that. Hope lives on your property. My grandkids live on your property. So I'm not really going anywhere. I don't know why you keep sitting there saying this same BS over and over again. But again, Ridge, I am so trying not to curse, but Riz, like the insecure little bastard that he is, it's like, you need to stay away from my wife. You're out of your league. This, that, and the third. The minute he was like, you're out of your league, I was like, oh man. It's like him saying that to Deacon is like calling Marty McFly a chicken. Okay, if you ever watch any of the Back to the Future movies, you know how that goes. So right off the bat, I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no. And he was like, "Oh, she's out of your league." And of course, Deacon was like, "You really think so?" Bro, your daughter just literally had a conversation with you about you keeping your damn mouth shut. But I get it. It's a man thing. It's a pride thing. I, I get it. And again, the fact that his little privileged ass just walked up in there, mocking him for this, that, and third, was like, bro, are you kidding me? So I'm not surprised that he didn't say what he said. Now, on the other side of town, well, Thomas knows the truth now. Douglas told him that Grandma was kissing Santa. Brooke was kissing Deacon, and Thomas asked, like, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you 100% sure?" And then you can just tell that he had a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. Steffi walked in and was like, "What's going on?" And Thomas was like, "Why don't you go play with Hayes or whatever?" If I finish watching the movie. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, Thomas did kind of drag this out a little bit, um, but he did wind up telling Steffi, "Yep, Brooke was kissing Deacon." I said Brooklyn. Brooklyn. Yep, Brooke was kissing Deacon. And the look on Steffi's face was exactly what I expected. I expected that look. I was literally sitting there waiting for that look. Because I gotta sit there and say, I mean, Steffi and those facial expressions are just priceless. I don't know if it's the way her face is built, her eyes are built, but when she has an expression on her face, it's like, damn, yeah, The majority of her acting isn't just in her words, but also her facial expressions. And yep, she does it well. She does it pretty damn well. Um, my favorite two trashy people. Yep, you know who I'm talking about. Carter and Paris was caught kissing by Grace, who at first I thought was just gonna bust in the door and be like, "What's going on?" But she came to go get a purse. She walked out. Carter was like, "Yo, listen, we can't do this because anybody could just walk through that door. You gotta stop. We gotta really like control ourselves or whatever." Um, Carter was like, "Listen, I don't think that you want Zendy to get hurt or, like Zendy walking in there. I don't want to do it to him." And Paris is like, "I know, I don't want to hurt Zende, but every time there should be no buts in that conversation. Okay, if you start off with this saying, I don't want to hurt someone, that pretty much should be the end of the conversation. No, 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 not trashy, hypocritical Paris. She's like, no, but every time I see you, I just want to do X, Y, and Z. And Carter kind of reminds her of, yo, you don't want to sit there and jeopardize this job. Messing things up with the Foresters. I mean, it's called Foresters Creations. And Zende is a Forester. So now at this point, they're both just like, all right, let's just, kind of keep this to ourselves. Oh, okay. So we're just gonna keep this to ourselves. I mean, granted, Carter was like, listen, I've hurt a lot of people. I've hurt Eric. I betrayed him. It was really messed up, and it was messed up. It was, but I mean, Quinn was in on that too for the first half of that whole thing. Hey, how's Eric erectile dysfunction? I can't. Anyway, we haven't even gotten to that. I want to know, was it cured? Well, I mean, is it working again with Quinn? I want to know, did they actually? Anyway, he does remind her of the fact that you are jeopardizing your job. And she's like, yeah, I know, you're right. Like, it's just not a big deal. It's just not a big deal to this chick. I don't know if she's just stupid or just like non self aware. I don't know what is going on with her. Because the way she delivers these lines sometimes, it's like sometimes she'll be talking to him, like, yeah, I know, but it's like, and I'm like, are you high or something? Like, what is going on with you? This can ruin your job. You cannot have it. There's a possibility that you cannot have a job at Forcer Creations. Are you planning on going to HR? What was the other chick name that got fired by Eric because she gave him an erection? Yeah, how's HR handling that little thing? So pretty much she could be fired, and she's just kind of treating this like, yeah, okay, you're right, and she's totally okay with just keeping their little thing to themselves because Zende went out on a date with Sequoia, so that means that gives her carte blanche to sit there and do whatever. And granted, it does to an extent, but I mean, you can be honest. You can try that. I mean, anyway, that doesn't happen. She leaves because she's late to a meeting because she's too busy sitting there kissing, Carter. So that's already affecting her job. That's nice. Trashy ass Grace comes in there and is practically just warning him away from her daughter. Her innocent, sweet, bright, beautiful, blah, blah, blah of a daughter. I was like, sweetheart, your daughter's trash also. And let's be very clear about something. You cannot sit there and put this all on Carter. You can't put this on Carter. But you're sitting there telling, oh, you should back off because Zendiz is 1 in a million and, he's come from a good home and blah, 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 blah. So I'm sitting there watching this whole thing. And I'm just like, Grace, you POS of a person. That's pretty much all I kept sitting there thinking in my head. Then of course Brooke is not there sweating bullets, not there hoping that Deacon doesn't say anything, hoping that Douglas doesn't say anything after you practically manipulate your grandson into not saying anything and just keeping all that stuff bottled to herself like the amazing grandmother that you are. Sometimes I sit there and I start off when I'm watching some of these soap operas and I'm just like, man, I'm gonna sit there and make this to a 10, 20-minute video. And then this soap opera just gives me gold. It just gives me gold. And I'm just like, Brooke, you. So she's sweating bullets, and you got Liam in hopes that they're trying to calm her down and seriously, trying to calm her down and calm her nerves down. Everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. It was just one kiss. Douglas isn't gonna say anything. No one's gonna believe her. No one's gonna believe him. And blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, Steffi has been waiting for this since probably the day that they got married. Okay, since the moment they said "I do," Steffi was like, "Man, I really can't stand this woman, and I can't wait until they break up." And she's been waiting for quite a long time. They had their ups and their downs, and they stayed together. And she's just been like, one day, something's gonna happen. My dad is gonna leave that POS of a woman and hopefully go back to mom. And now she got exactly what she wanted. So she is probably going to be running red lights and just going the distance to sit there and try to find Ridge and be so excited that she's probably gonna have to sit there and catch her breath before she says what she says. I don't know. In my head, I can sit there and just picture her just driving through LA really fast, running into a Forrester's creation, going so fast that she gets the ridge and just out of breath before she says what she says because she's been waiting for that since they said, I do. Oh, and Sheila does the usual thing. You know the usual thing that she does. Okay? Starts with monologuing, ends like a DC villain, and of course she's patting herself on the back for destroying Brooke because Brooke tried to block her from being with her family. So she's all like, "Oh, I did a great job. This is so great. Go me." I'm like, "You are your own cheerleader at this point, aren't you?" Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much the extent of what she did. But to be honest, it's not like no one didn't. The minute I sit there and say Sheila alone, just take a wild guess what she's doing. Anyway, I think that's actually about it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. See you in the next video.